Hello, my name is Elaine Littaw. I am an author, um, and you may know me as Auntie from our channel. My niece and I, we have a channel on YouTube called Mrs. B and Auntie. Well, my sweet niece, she has seen me in my battle with health, trying to get healthy. And she thought that my struggle might help someone else. I I fear sounding like that the little old lady that always complains and tells y'all about all of her problems, but I try not to be like that. What has come to light is that I have some sort of autoimmune disease. And if you've read much about it, I've read quite a bit about it. It is really, it is kind of like, it feels like a phantom. It's like, it's hard to be detected in some cases. It depends on what you're suffering from. Anyway, so I have been to a number of doctors and they run tests and they say, nothing wrong with you, go home, you're well. And I'm still in pain. I had symptoms of a stroke. My face was sagging. I had slurred speech. And so my town doctor sent me to the biggest town in our area to have brain scans to see if I was having a stroke. This was several years ago. And I did the MRI and MRA and I don't know, lots of stuff, and nothing showed up. Go home. Nothing is to see here. This has been quite a few years of hearing this. That was like 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. And so I quit going to the doctor. Nothing to see here. And I mean, even people praying for me that say you don't have much faith or you wouldn't struggle with this. So I thought, okay, Lord, increase my faith. I need help. I'm so sorry. Anyway, this is just me. My mom used to call me a ball bag. So just, turn it off if you can't stand it. Anyway, so not only did medical people tell me there was nothing, spiritual people, my pastors told me there's a lack of faith. Jesus never told me that, because I could feel his presence in my life and I knew he still loved me. So anyway, my pastor's wife and another lady from the church fell ill and they went to the diagnostic center and they found that they had fibromyalgia. The very thing that was told to me was not a thing, was not real. And they were getting help. So I went to my doctor. To go to the diagnostic center, you have to have a reference from a doctor. So I went to my doctor that told me he knew nothing about it. He didn't know if it's real or not. A lot of people, but he did to his credit, he did refer me to a doctor there that is a specialist in rheumatology and these kinds of conditions. And this doctor does believe in it. So I went, and when he first saw me, he's like, I don't know. I mean, he's a quiet guy, and I couldn't tell if, I could tell he was sizing me up. I couldn't tell if he thought I was just, somebody just wanted attention or what. So, anyway, they took a lot of blood. A lot of vials. It wasn't a lot of blood. It was like 10 little vials. And then they did all kinds of x-rays and stuff. And so I thought, okay, whatever. So I found out I was an inch shorter than I thought I was. I wasn't happy about that, but that's nothing compared to everything else. Anyway, I went back to see him after 2 weeks, and he began by, giving me basically the same speech that I had heard a bunch of times. I was stronger that day about not crying than I am today. Anyway, he began by saying, well, da 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 da. And I'm thinking, okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Be prepared. Don't cry. Just take it on the chin. So he said, all of your tests came back just great. You have a few issues, but most of them, majority of them, you're perfect. Your blood pressure's perfect. Your heart's perfect. Your this is perfect. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So, and I'm glad my blood pressure and all that other stuff is perfect, because I couldn't handle more. Anyway, so he told me, and I couldn't understand his speech because he's, from another country, and, I hear in Texican. Anyway, I was like trying to process what he was telling me. I'm like, okay, I hope Terry's getting this. He was sitting there with me, and he said, I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, one thing he did tell me was I was very low in vitamin D. So I'm like, okay. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you a prescription for vitamin D. And I'm, oh, okay. He said, you almost have no vitamin D. And I'm like, all right. And so the prescription was for 50,000 milligrams vitamin, capsules. Not capsules, but, little gel things. I'm like, wow, and he says 1 a week for 3 months, and then take vitamin D3 over the counter, and we'll check you on month 4. And he said some other things. He was telling me that I had arthritis in my hand, and that I had a bum knee and all that. Well, I knew I had hurt myself, like skiing one time on my knee years ago, and I had broken that knee, and I'd broken a wrist when I was little. And I fell on my patio and broke my face, and had to have a tooth put in, and broke a jaw, and the roof of my mouth and all that stuff, all that split. It was like a mess, and anyway. I thought, okay, yeah, those things make sense, that I would have arthritis in those things. So I'm like, okay. So I wasn't taking notes, and so I was my husband and I talked on that 2-hour ride home, and tried to figure out what he said. And this one, he said that the ANA test was borderline. It was a little high, but it lacked a point or two to be high. Anyway, and I thought, okay, I don't know what that is. So one good thing the diagnostic thing does is they send you an email with your diagnosis and with the doctor's notes. And so I read the doctor's notes, and it's just like listening to him. I didn't know what anything was. So I did what you're really not supposed to do, and I went to Google just to look up what ANA meant. I didn't know what that was. So it's antinuclear antibody, and it says a positive ANA test indicates that your immune system has launched a misdirected attack on your own tissue. In other words, an autoimmune reaction, but some people have a positive ANA test even when they're healthy. Positive ANA test indicates systemic lupus, and I can't pronounce the rest of it. What causes ANA, old age, and more. ANA antibodies attack the DNA, genetic material inside of the cell nucleus, and that causes the causes of high ANA is vitamin D deficiency. So, vitamin D deficiency, let's see. It was a list of everything I felt. Anyway, and osteoarthritis was one of the things he said. Myalgic and other, which is another word for chronic fatigue. Now, if he had just told me chronic fatigue, I would have understood it. And he said, if he would have said, it's possibly chronic fatigue, which is called osteoarthritis myalgic other. Anyway, chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic encephalomyelitis. I'm not really good at this. Complex. Debilitating long-term, not fully understood. Symptoms, general feeling of discomfort or illness. Extreme fatigue, body pain, poor concentration, loss of memory, sore throat, tender lymph nodes, pain in multiple joints, headache, rest or sleep does not help in refreshing. Sleep problems, extreme exhaustion or tiredness that lasts for more than a day following physical or mental activity. The cause is not known. Risk factors is problem with immune system, hormonal imbalance, and it's usually in women. Complications are depression, isolation, restrictions on lifestyle, and increased closure from work, school, or going to church or other institutions. Anyway, osteoarthritis, if that's what's wrong. Inflammation, or I have that too. Inflammation of one or more joints, commonly arthritis in hands, spine, knee, and hip. Most common in women. Symptoms, fatigue, depressed mood, pain, anxious mood, joint pain. And I didn't write down all the vitamin D deficiency, but it was almost exactly the same as the one that talked about not being refreshed after going to sleep, which I found very interesting. I read this to my husband, and he said, that is you. Because, he's a very healthy, very energetic, very everything. And I would be like wiped out. I'd wake up wiped out. He did not understand that no matter how much sleep I got, I was not refreshed. So, shoot, this is almost 15 minutes. I'm very sorry. But you get to feeling like you're a nut or something, because if people don't understand, like, I can drive for 1 hour going somewhere and 1 hour coming back. I can ride in the car with my husband going 2 hours and 2 hours back if I don't have a lot of activity in between. And that is very limiting. My kids live very far away. I mean, the closest kid lives 2 hours away. Another lives 500 miles away. Another lives 1,200 miles away. And to get to an airplane takes 2 hours, you know. So, isolation. They don't see me. To know what it's like from day to day, because I can have good days. I have good days. I don't do anything if there's something I need to do the next day, or if I know I'm going to see some people. I don't do anything. And I can fake it that I'm just fine. You won't know. But if you're with me more than 3 days, you see the crash and burn. Anyway, I'm done feeling sorry for myself. But if this helps anybody know a direction to go, that's worth, crying on screen. Anyway, so I'm going to find out something in June and get some direction on medications and pain reliever and things like that. The doctor did say that he has to rule out everything else, like lupus and all of that. He has to rule that all out. And then if it's nothing else, then it's fibro, because there is no test for fibro. There's no indicators and all that. I don't really understand all that, but they have to rule out everything else. So hopefully, in 4 months, in June, I will have a blood test, and they'll see what the markers, whatever indicators or whatever, have done, and if there's any more information for them. So, anyway, that's all I have for you. So, if you've hung in this long, please forgive me for being emotional, but that's just me. Anyway, I will update you. I don't know how much, because I don't. If you need updates, will you please comment about it? If you don't need updates, you can comment and say, just tell me what the result was. I don't want to suffer through this with you. And I'm not going to redo all of this, my definitions and all that stuff. I will let you know, I did have 1 dose of the vitamin D, and I do feel a little bit better. I mean, some of the pain is gone, and I haven't been taking pain medicine. One thing my daughter-in-law told me was, do not take large doses of Tylenol if you have problems like this, because it will hurt your liver. Her dad took prescribed Tylenol, and the doctor told him it gave him cirrhosis of the liver. So you have to use a different pain medication. So right now I'm trying to stay away from pain medication, except for I am taking NyQuil so I can go to sleep. Anyway, that's it for today. This is February, I don't know, 9th maybe. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.